Street? Seeing none.
Move the staff recommendation.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Bestwick, that Council declare the property at 656 Lambert Street a nuisance pursuant to the nuisance bylaw, and authorize staff to record and charge municipal services, including police, required at this property to abate the nuisances. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Are there any citizens in attendance who wish to speak to the matter of unresolved building deficiencies regarding an illegal marijuana grow operation at 2225 Uplands Drive? Anybody want to go? Anybody want to speak to that? Camera shy? What is your direction?
Move the staff recommendation.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Holdham, that Council by resolution instruct the Director of Legislative Services to file a bylaw contravention notice respecting 3225 Uplands Drive at Land Title and Survey Authority of BC under Section 57 of the Community Charter. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. The first item under unresolved building deficiencies has been dealt with. So is there any citizen who wishes to speak to unresolved building deficiencies under Section 72 regarding 3225 Uplands Drive, illegal marijuana grow operation? If so, please come to the microphone.
Move the staff recommendation.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor McNabb, that Council by resolution pursuant to Section 72 and 73 of the Community Charter order the owners of 3225 Uplands Drive to remove the structure, bring it up to standard within 30 days, that any cost would be incurred by the municipality pursuant to the Community Charter. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Corporate Services. The staff is recommending that Council submit the following resolution to the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities for consideration at their 2008 convention. Whereas senior governments are recording record surpluses as a result of significant cuts to social and climate protection services that our citizens expect as fundamental services to Canadian society, and whereas local governments, being the only government accessible to our citizens, are obligated to carry out the social and climate protection services that senior governments have abandoned, and whereas property taxes are not a fair and representative way to charge for soft services that are provided by local governments, and whereas due to market conditions, property taxes are no longer representative of one's ability to pay, and whereas local governments in the United States have consumption-based taxation as one of their revenue tools, therefore be it resolved that local governments of British Columbia wish to reopen discussions with the province regarding the use of consumption-based taxation as a revenue tool for local governments.
So moved.
Move Councillor Holdham, seconded Councillor Bestwick. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. The next item is staff recommends that Council direct staff to draft resolutions on topics suggested in the report if Council considers them appropriate for submission to the Association of Vancouver Island Coastal Communities, and identify any additional topics which Council wishes staff to draft resolutions, and direct staff to present such resolutions to the January 28th Council meeting for consideration of adoption and submission to the AVICC for their consideration at the 2008 Annual General Meeting. You want to move that recommendation?
So moved.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Unger. And are there any specific topics you wish to add? Councillor Sherry.
Well, Mr. Chairman, you hit the subject right on the head. Your request for the provincial government to have that independent body suggest remuneration as it relates to the public bodies, and I would move that a resolution to that effect be drafted and forwarded to not only the AVICC but to the UBCM as well. Okay.
Is there a second to that? Seconded Councillor Bestwick. Any discussion? Councillor Manhas.
Oh, Your Worship, that topic has come forward at the AVICCs and UBCM for the last few years, and always the UBCM resolution and the AVICC's resolution committee recommends that it's up to the councils to decide, because province has told us many times it's up to the individual councils and individual regional districts to deal with that issue. I'm not sure if I mean, I certainly support that going forward, but it's already been there many times, and it's been turned down from both the UBCM and Resolution Committee and the AVICC Committee.
Everybody has different learning curves.
The only comment that I would say, Mr. Chairman, is on some occasions it's been referred to the executive for comments and forward on. that sometimes it hasn't even hit the floor for the vote. It's been referred.
Yeah, there's been so much downloading from the federal and provincial governments that maybe it's time for a little uploading from our end.
Any further debate? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Any other topics you wish to add to the list? May I suggest a similar topic that has not been successful so far, but still continues to haunt us, is the issue with regard to the gas franchise fee. And we have had support, unanimous support in the past from our colleagues at the AVICC and the Union of BC Municipalities, but I think considering that we're now up to $2 million a year in lost revenue that the citizens of Nanaimo don't get, but other of our competing communities do get, that it's timely for us to resurrect that issue with the provincial government, because that project has long since been paid for, and it continues to be a discrimination against citizens on Vancouver Island. If I could suggest that. Move Councillor Unger, seconded Councillor Cameron. Any discussion? Councillor Sherry?
Well, Mr. Chairman, the gas people on Vancouver Island aren't having a fair shake either way, because on the mainland you can phone to the various gas companies and get different rates, and that where we're stuck with the one here. So I think we need to be brought back into the 21st century.
Point. Councillor Manhas?
Oh, I think, Your Worship, the timing might be right, because as you are very much aware that the contract or the report that you're talking about is coming due in 2010, so this might be appropriate to take it forward again.
Get it back on the agenda. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Any other topics you wish to add? Councillor Hold'em?
Your Worship, just at the bottom of the page from the staff report is the matter of the provincial funding for prisoners being held in the city jail. And are we to assume that the ones that are mentioned here are going to be
Your Worship, staff are assuming that the two mentioned in the report are included in the resolution. So.
Oh, okay. Okay, so we don't need to do that. Thank you.
Anything other than the ones listed in the report? Okay, if anything comes to mind, please bring it to the attention of staff, and they will at least bring it to our attention on the January 28th meeting. I'll call a vote on the general resolution here. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Design and construction services. The staff recommendation is that council award the design, contract, administration, and commissioning of the South Nanaimo Reservoirs and Pipeworks project to Coors and Associates in the amount of $403,304 plus GST.
Move the recommendation.
Move Councillor McNabbs, Chairman of the Water Committee, and seconded by Councillor Sherry. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Move receipt of the information-only items.
Move Councillor Sherry that we receive the information-only items. Do you wish to all in favor of receipt? Opposed? Carried. Discuss any of them specifically. Councillor Sherry?
Well, Mr. Chairman, item B, which is the council remuneration.
Yes.
I do have concerns that the rate that's being recommended in here, when one looks at the consumer index for the Vancouver area, which is used for a lot of pensions and that likes within the province of BC for their increases. I can tell you that my Pope pension, because was less than 3%, I only got 3/8 of 1%, 3/8 of 1% increase on my deal. And when they sent me the form as to the change in the remuneration that would be deposited in my account, it's a total of $10 a month. So that hopefully will be paying for my property taxes this year, never mind the remuneration. And if we had stayed to the consumer index, I could support the recommendation, and I hope that this matter will be reviewed after the November elections.
Okay. Any further debate? Any other information items you wish to discuss? Okay. That's been dealt with. Next item is Acting Mayor, please. Reconsideration of bylaws.
I move that zoning bylaw, amendment bylaw 2007, number 4000.418, as it relates to rezone a single-family residential zone to residential duplex zone, as it relates to property at 1606 Meredith Road. I move that this bylaw be adopted.
Seconded, Councillor McNabb. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously.
I move that zoning bylaw, amendment bylaw 2007, number 4000.420, as it for a site-specific amendment to the chapel's front zone, C28, to increase the maximum floor area ratio from 2.5 to 3.3 at 15 and 21 Front Street. Move that this bylaw be finally adopted, signed by the mayor and the clerk, and the seal of the corporation affixed there too.
Good memory. Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor McNabb. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I move that zoning bylaw, amendment bylaw 2007, number 4000.429, as it relates to rezone property from single-family residential small lot, RS6 to and residential triplex and quadruplex zone RM2 in order to create 8 RS6 lots and 1 RM2 lot at 6000 Hammond Bay Road. I move that this bylaw be given third reading.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Hold'em. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
I move that highway naming bylaw 2007, number 7063 Shaw Lane, to rename a portion of Lois Lane to Shaw Lane. I move that this bylaw be adopted.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Hold'em. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
I move that financial plan bylaw 2008, number 7064, to adopt the 2008 to 2012 financial plan for the city of Nanaimo be given first reading.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Manhas. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Recognize Councillor Sherry opposed. The balance of council in the affirmative. The motion is carried.
I move that the financial plan bylaw 2008, number 764, be passed its second reading.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Manhas. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Recognize Councillor Sherry opposed. The balance of council in the affirmative. The motion is carried. Second reading.
I move that financial plan bylaw 2008, number 7064, financial plan be given third reading.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor Manhas. Any discussion? Councillor Manhas.
Oh, thank you, Your Worship. I just want to state, I believe City Manager mentioned the meeting on Thursday. It's actually in Nanaimo City Hall boardroom. I believe Mr. Berry said it's at the training room. It's at 4 p.m. Thursday.
4 p.m. Thursday in the
At
boardroom at City Hall. And all citizens are cordially invited to participate. Copies of the bylaw are available largely on the website and in hard copy at City Hall. Any further discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Did you have your hand up? Opposed?
No. We passed that bylaw?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Okay.
I move that zoning bylaw, amendment bylaw 2008, number 4000.431, which is to rezone property to permit a drive-through restaurant in a mixed-use commercial zone, C4 zone, at 6334 Metro Drive, be given first reading.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor McNabb. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
I move the same bylaw be passed at second reading.
Second motion. Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor McNabb. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried.
And I believe, Mr. Chairman, we need to deal with the development permit, and I'd so move.
The development permit related to 15 Front Street, development permit 482 on page 2 of your green sheets. Any discussion? This is regard to the flanking street yard requirement on Chapel Street. Any discussion? See none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you, Councillor Sherry.
I move receipt of the correspondence.
Move Councillor Sherry, seconded Councillor McUnger, that we receive the correspondence. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any specific correspondence you wish to deal with separately? Councillor Hold'em, then Brennan.
Item D, Your Worship, I'd move that council adopt the attached draft resolution regarding highway maintenance in this item.
Moved Councillor Holden, seconded Councillor Brennan. Any discussion? Question, all in favor? Opposed? Councillor Unger opposed, the balance of council in the affirmative. Any other correspondence items you wish to deal with separately? Individually, I mean? Any notices of motion from the council? Other business, I believe Councillor Unger has an information item.
Thank you, Your Worship. The CRTC is holding hearings in Vancouver at a date yet to be determined in late February regarding a new license and frequency allocation for the CBC, which wants to establish a studio and station here in Nanaimo. They have asked for support from the city in the way of a presentation. Local arts groups and the Downtown Nanaimo Partnership and others will be sending delegations, and I would like to have approval from council to go on behalf of the city.
So moved.
Moved Councillor Holdham, seconded Councillor Brennan. Any discussion?
One-way ticket or two-way?
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Any other business items? Do we have any delegations from the citizens of the community to items on the agenda? This has got a typo in the agenda here. It should be items on the agenda. It says not on the agenda. So, we'll let you ask whatever you want to ask, Fred. Go ahead. Microphone, please.
Fred Taylor, 204 Emery Way, and listening to the City Manager, Mr. Barry's presentation tonight, one of the views I've often held, and I'm wondering if Council would consider it, the use of council in upzoning of land. I believe that helps move somebody out further away from the city limits to buy or have a lower cost of land, where if the same type of land was available in the city and you put a middle person in there to enjoy some profit through just the zoning and not the development of the land, it discourages use of property within the city, i.e. if you take a piece of vacant land out in Duke Point that was sold for $800,000, council rezoned it, and a couple of years later us taxpayers bought it for $2.5 million. We could have bought it for $800,000 and paid for the improvements on that vacant land that's sitting there vacant. Possibly that grocery warehouse in Coombs located there because they were the first time buyer of some available land and there was no upzoning. Pardon me?
I don't remember spending $2 million for an industrial parcel at Duke Point. What are you referring to?
I believe the Arboretum is now sold to the RDN, and
we didn't spend $2 million for that, did we?
2.5.
Well,
the RDN did.
The regional district, Your Worship.
Yeah, but
I'm
it would
just
be
using-
nice if we had ESP about the future demands and needs, et cetera.
Well,
But you're
my
right.
question is-
We need to be alert to opportunities to protect sensitive lands, et cetera.
It would be my opinion, just like Port Alberni did years ago, if fourth reading happens when you have the proof of development's going to happen, or you're not using the council for an upzoning tool to make money.
It's a fair point. I think you've got something there. Yep.
And my other question, in seeing pictures, Mr. Barry, of the countryside with open ditches and everything, which is more environmentally friendly, would we eventually be adopting that within the town instead of curbing everything and rushing everything to the river and flooding everything and this sort of thing? In other words, adopting some ideas that do happen in the countryside and maintain the water table and all sorts of things.
The engineering department has actually been looking at, as part of the greening package, looking at issues of runoff of stormwater and reinstituting swales, as they're called, instead of putting everything into concrete pipes and just roaring it to the ocean and possibly causing extreme costs, et cetera. So that is certainly one of the things that we've been looking at.
The funny part of it is, Mr. Mayor, the conference between all levels of government happened in this city a couple of years ago, and then we turned around and did the opposite for all the bowl area in the new servicing of that area. We curbed it and did everything to it.